Hello. Thank you and welcome back to Love and Hope Can LLC. Hey, I just wanted to come on and just talk to you a little bit about some tips on how to manage anxiety and depression. I'm coming on just on the back of burying my nephew. Um, I know this is something that he and I were planning on talking about because he dealt with anxiety and depression. And it was something that we were supposed to do on my podcast for Spotify. And we never got that chance. And I just want to stay true to what I said that I wanted him to do. And he and I had discussed a couple of times just on how well he was dealing with what he was going through. And then some of the episodes that he would have and I would be one of the persons that he would call during the middle of the night or whenever he felt the need to, call me several times in a day or just back to back days and different times of the different times during the day, especially in the early morning sleeping hours where he couldn't sleep. Well, that invitation was always, there was never not an invitation that where he could never call me. I was always open to him because, of course, he was my nephew slash son, more of a son than a nephew, and I loved him to pieces. Um, so anyway, he was excited when I told him. I asked him, I said, David, do you want to be a guest on my podcast? We talk about, and this is one of the after a conversation that we had on how well he wasn't doing with his anxiety and things, and he wanted to come down and stay with me, and and I told him, I said, well, let me just think about it, and talk to hubby, and he was like, okay, auntie, and I just never forget. This is something that he struggled with apparently really, really bad. And although we talked, he never really told me a lot of what he was dealing with. And I just wish I could have done so much more to be able to. I mean, I don't know what that something else could have been, but I just felt like if I was a superhero and I was Superwoman, I wish I had special powers to undo some things to be able to make sure that my nephew um, just was just 100% good. And unfortunately, that wasn't the reality. But on the other hand, things that he shared with me was how he just struggled and mostly was being up at nighttime and feeling uncomfortable in some cases about going to sleep and not being alone. He didn't want to be alone in a lot of instances. And so I just told him, you call me anytime. We can talk or you can help me with the next upcoming thing when it comes to this technology. And he was just my guy and I was I guess, his person for the most part. But he had a lot of friends, he had a lot of friends and a lot of family members that he reached out to. But I don't know if he talked about some of the things that he talked about with them to me. I just know that, he had some outlets to where he can reach other than me, which is always a good thing. But anyway, I wanted to stay true to form. Um, I know, like I spoke yesterday, about dealing with young people early on that have been identified as ADHD or ADD and some other mental health situations when they were younger at 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, and that bothers me. It always bothered me as a professional in the social work slash human service field. It sort of just really bothered me seeing such young kids being not diagnosed so early and some of them misdiagnosed because people didn't understand how to deal with children through through diet, maybe discipline. And I'm not talking about spankings and beatings or anything, but knowing how to deal with. I think people are so scared to be able to deal with their children right now because of the threat of my children will be taken from me and all of these types of things. But yet there are people that are misdiagnosing these children to, back then was really to get paid and get money off of writing these prescriptions, and then certain households will have extra income at the expense of their children. Now, in some cases, listen, it's not in all cases. I always say in some cases it was needed, but in other cases, what I've seen, no, it wasn't. But you had children that's been on this stuff for 5, 6, 7, 10 years, and in some cases 12, and sometimes 18 when they are old enough, or 19 when they're old enough to get out. And they leaned on adults to be able to get their medication. And then once they leave the safety net, or opt out of a system or something like that, they're just left out there. And with this mind altering drug that they were used to having, now they don't have a way to get their prescriptions. They're 18 years old, don't know how to go and apply for insurance, and just a lot of just failures that have happened over the years. And with people not really caring enough to be able to care about what's going to happen to this 18 or this 21-year-old young adult now at this time. That person is no longer my issue, or no longer my problem. I'm no longer getting money. You hear me? I'm no longer getting money for this child. And so my level of care has since decreased. And so listen, I am that person to call it out, but at the same time, I'm worrying about our young folks. I'm worried about a lot of our young folks that's trying to make it out here, that's trying to survive. And we talked about a little bit about it yesterday on the video I uploaded about the violence. And here comes summertime, and a lot of these kids are going to be out in the streets and things like that. And where are these kids going to get, and deal with resources and do some constructive play, or constructive type of work, or anything. We need these kids need some help, because I don't know what it is. I'm getting anxiety just thinking about it, because I've seen what has happened already in the winter and in the springtime. All of these killings. You turn on the TV, there's a murder or killing of either us killing each other, okay, or the police done kill somebody else in the world, in another different 4, 5, 6 different states of people of color, you know. And so I worry about it. I worry about the child that's been left to take these mind altering drugs, and now are self medicating with marijuana, or and doing it wrong, and taking on stuff that's laced in the marijuana to get a different high, or people not knowingly smoking other people drugs, and they done laced it with fentanyl, and next thing you know, that high is not good enough, so you go to heroin, and you go to whatever, you go to these different these cough syrups and all of this other type of stuff, trying to self medicate, trying to deal or try to be cool with the rest of the crowd. And so I'm worried about our young people. I'm worried about our young people. And if you hear me at the sound of my voice, it's a lot of things that's going on. A lot of people act like they're functioning well in society, and as lost as all get out, and don't know, but they're faking the funk. And I'm here to tell you that you don't have to fake the funk. I'm here to tell you that, you know what, you can do it. And, if you find the right resources, find the right mental health professionals to help you, you can do it. So anyway, I was just talking, this is the kind of conversation that I would have with my nephew, and he would put me up on game and all of that. He was like, Auntie, I got to put you up on game. Like, okay, you can put me up on game, but what are you talking about? So he had, he dealt with a lot of his anxiety and depression through writing music, and putting it out, and just just learning that he has a whole album and a half of music that has not been put out there for anyone to listen to, but most of his stuff is just dealing with how he's dealt with his anxiety, and that was his way out. So I always we used to talk, and like I said, he promised me that he was going to come on my podcast and talk to me about some of the ways that he was coping with his anxiety, and some of the ways that he struggled. But I remember our conversation, and I remember having to be that person for him. And I would say, well, David, always allow yourself to feel what it is that you're feeling in the moment. I always used to tell people that I've dealt with, people that would be highly stressed, and even myself, I would say to myself, let me feel how I want to feel. If I feel like crying, I'm gonna cry. If I feel like just screaming my lungs out. Let me just scream my lungs out in my pillow. And if I feel like getting up, going in my car to drive, to listen to some gospel music or listen to some music that soothes me, let me do so. Do it if I need to call my big brother to hear him talk to me about how much God loves me and for him to give me a sermon over the phone. Something that I'm so used to since I was a little bitty old girl. And as he would say, I would crawl across the street. Lord, I said, and put my parents in prison to have their baby crawl across the street. But that's our little inside joke. But anyway, love him to pieces. But he was my person, just like I was my person. I was my, I was the person for my nephew. But I will say, always allow yourself to feel what you feel. A lot of times you say, Auntie, I just feel chaotic. Auntie, I feel so much anxiety. I feel anxious. I can't go to sleep or I can't do, I feel like I can't function right now. They got me on this medication, complained about the medication that he was on and it made him feel just stuck where or just heavy laden where he had to go and lay down. He was the type of guy that needed to get up and just go. He loved being outside. David loved to go you know. He had the personality as big as the world, and he never met a stranger. So wherever he went, he always, kind of picked up a friend along the way or someone he can get in contact with. And that was just him. That was a part of me. It still is a part of me and a part of my father. So I would ask him, just feel the way you feel. And so that was one of the things. Another thing we talked about was eat a balanced meal that included veggies, fruit, and good fats. And the good fats, just like avocado, fatty oils, good fat oils, and things like that when you're cooking. Um, and that was one of the things he struggled, not struggled with his weight all the time, but he ended up losing weight and feeling so much better. And so I'm saying to those of you who are listening to me that your diet, and this is something that I used to, try to teach to the parents early on when I was, dealing with parents, and they would come to me, Miss Katrina, can you help me with my child, and can you help me, and what would be the good advice for this and that? I mean, I help so many parents, and I mean, we work together, and that's one of the best things is parents to really get an understanding on how to help your child. I loved it. I love the work that I did. I love the work that I do, but I love people who was on board for being open. And like I would tell them, I'm gonna learn from you and you can learn from me and we can learn together as we go through this journey, right? It's for the well-being of the child and also for you and your household. And so one of the things is I would teach them, well, we'll talk about different eating a balanced meal, fruits and veggies, and what does it mean, and how what are the natural sugars versus the not so good sugars in the cereals and things. And parents will see a big behavior difference in their child once they child had some Fruit Loops in the morning. Next thing you know, that child is off the chain. It's altering something in that child's body, in that child's brain. That's that's not that sugar is not good for them. That not that type of sugar. So I would teach them how to get pineapples, get fresh oranges, get fresh apples, get grapes and things. Put it in there. And what's a good protein? Peanut butter was a good protein. Have them put some peanut butter and some celery, or make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but not just glock it. Just put it on there like boom, boom, boom. But just honestly have a balanced diet for the child. And I'm not saying putting all them fruits in one lunch for that day. You had to balance it out. You balanced it out with whatever milk or water or whatever that child needed, because that child brain is still developing. And these are some of the things. Instead of just putting the child on medicine, try to do it by diet. I remember early on I was going to training. It was a training. It talked about children with ADHD and ADD. And one of the things that I took from this one speaker, she was magnificent, was she talked about the diet of dealing with an autistic child or dealing with a child that is dealing with ADHD and ADD. I mean, she had me tuned in like I was watching Looney Tunes. Like my favorite was Bugs Bunny. But I'm just saying, this was something that I learned over 12 years ago that I incorporate today when I talk to parents, instead of them calling their children bad and oh this child is stupid, I do not deal with parents that continue to call their children bad or stupid. I'll teach you how why you're saying that. You're saying that because you have no other words to describe your child's behavior, but that child is not dumb or stupid. Okay. And I do not like parents to call and talk about their children in that manner. That child deserves a running start to be successful. So we're going to reverse the language. We're going to find some other words that are a lot more fitting to your child's personality and character and everything else. Let your child have a running start to win at life. But when you continue to call your child stupid or dumb at an early age, and so when they get into school and they begin to perform and act out because they feel that they cannot, because you've already started the negative talk to them that they're not good enough or they're not smart enough, and they start acting that out in school, and next thing you know they have your child on some brain altering medication. Well, sometimes we have to check yourselves as parents, because parents, you are the child's first teachers. You are your child's or children's first teachers. You are. So anyway, eating a balanced meal. I'm got off a little bit, but I'm sorry. Another tip on how to manage anxiety and depression. I always used to talk to David about limiting his alcohol, and if he was using drugs, I don't know, but these unfortunately things that can trigger your panic attacks and or your anxiety attacks, anything. Also, I don't think he was a caffeine drinker, but some of these things actually can trigger. So lessen. If you're up to drinking 2 and 3 and 4 cups of coffee a day, try to lessen that by half to where you actually get down to one and see the difference. If you're drinking Coke, Pepsi, and all of those type of sodas with those added sugars in there, check it out. Lessen it and see what happens. And you may have withdrawal, or you may have withdrawals. That stuff is serious. That stuff is serious. So limit that so you have a fighting chance. Just like I tell the parents, or suggest to parents. I don't tell them, but suggest to parents on how to alter their child. As adults, we have to alter it too. For that child that's 18, 19, 20, that was used to using all of these brain altering drugs, let's try to do it this way. You still may have to get some medication just to get to the point to wean yourself totally off. But let's look at the diet. Let's look at what's going on. But I will also refer them to health professionals. I'm not the health professional. I'm not certified. I don't have a doctorate in any of that. I have a master's degree in another subject. I've been doing and working with parents, children, and families for almost over 30 years. So I know a little something, but I'm not that professional. So I always say seek out care lines in your part of the country or your city or your county, and get professional help. Okay. But the other thing, nature is your friend. Nature is my friend. Nature is your friend. So I know a lot of times when it gets to raining and all of these types of things, people feel depressed. People automatically go into this funk. But you know what? One of the things that I found, and I would tell Dave, I remember one time we were talking and it was raining, and I said, "Well, David, I don't talk on the phone." Listen to old school stuff. I don't talk on the phone. Oh, auntie, come on now. That's that old stuff. I remember grandma used to say that you talk on the phone. I said, yeah, I talk on the phone, the lightning is striking. And he used to say, he said, oh man, all that foggy stuff. I said, David, okay. So, but nothing happened. But I told him, I said, David, he was feeling a little down. And he said, auntie, I just want to go outside. Remember, I told you always allow yourself to feel what you're feeling. And so he said, I just want to go outside and just run in the rain. I said, David, I said, go outside and run in the rain. I said, it ain't hurting yourself or anybody. I said, that's God's rain. I said, go outside and just put your hands up and give thanks to God for the rain. Because the rain comes to us, it's to feed the earth. That's to feed the earth, to nurture the earth. You're part of the earth. Go out there, go outside, and I never forget. I never forget. I said, David, when you finish, just dry yourself off and give me a call back. And he said, Auntie, that was the best feeling ever. He said, I felt free. I said, David, it's all in your mind. I said, it's all in your mind. And we're not going to continue to claim stuff. Okay? It's all in your mind. We're not going to claim it. We're going to claim healing. That's what we're going to claim. Because there's a way. It's a story that you have to tell. And you could tell that story. That's not a problem whatsoever. But I'm going to need you to do it. So anyway, so that was just an experience. And I remember when I cut all my hair off and I would love the rain. I loved the way it felt on my scalp. I loved the way that it just made me feel. I didn't care. It really made me feel really, really good. And I really, allowed God's natural uh, um, elements to touch me and to heal me. But another thing, be sure to get your proper rest and relaxation. Does that make sense? Make sure that if you've never experienced a massage, to go in and experience a massage. A massage is just, it does something. Oh my goodness gracious, it does something for the body. It wakes it up. You may feel a little bit of soreness, but you're not supposed to. You're supposed to feel more relaxed. It's something about the muscle and the skeletal piece and all of that stuff being rejuvenated. Oh man. And then yoga. I've never done yoga. I've tried it. Uh-huh. But and I will go back to it. Let me say this. I will go back to it. I remember doing Tai Chi for a minute, but I want to say that one of my goals is to get into yoga. I was telling my nephew David, I said, David, I said, I know you probably won't do yoga. He said, well, if I found it, I'll go to yoga. And he never found it. He never found it. But I want you to just be able to say, you know what, let me give this a try. Try Tai Chi, try yoga, try getting a massage. You know, if you can afford it, get you a massage every week. If you can't afford it, just try some yoga. It's free. Try to do something different. I don't like the word try. Listen, I used to tell people for years, try gives you the option to do it or don't do it. It's either you do it or you don't do it at all. Go do it. Try. Excuse me. Go and make it happen. Reach out. Another thing is to reach out and keep in touch with people who love you the most. Okay? I don't want you suffering behind these blinds and it's dark in there and you're watching some of the saddest stuff and listening to some of the saddest music. Get out and just talk to people. If you have a thing about being around people, I understand it. If you have one person that you can just maybe you between a screen door, you sitting in the inside of the screen door, person sitting on the porch or wherever you are, any way possible for you to be able to reach out to someone who cares about you, who love you, who will walk with you through this journey, reach out and do that. Okay? I'm telling you that when you do it differently, it works. And I had something. I had it up. I think it uploaded yesterday. And it talked about just do it if just do it. Just if you love yourself enough, just do it. Try something different, regardless of the things of some of the naysayers that's in your space or your circle. You know, do away with them if they're not participating in your growth or adding to adding something positive to you or seeing you grow or they're watering you to make sure that anything that you're dealing with, uh, it will be a little bit easier for you. If you find people that's just constantly, well, girl, da 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 da, you call them for something, and all of a sudden, girl, I just it all becomes about them. Then you need to lessen your time with that individual. That's all I have to say. You know, I want you to be the best person possible. I want you to make sure that If you can take some deep breaths, count to 5, count to 10, breathe in, hold it for about 3 seconds, and breathe out. Do it again about 5 or 10 times. Stretch your body. Go to your door, reach all the way up to the top of the doors or as high as you can, and stretch your back muscle. Feel it in under your butt in your thigh area. Stretch your body. Not to the point to where you hurt it, but do something different. Let the energies flow. Get the energies flowing. I believe that God's water, the fire, what is it? The rain, air, fire, and what else is it? Wind. Is that a thing? I believe all of these elements work for the betterment of us. It's just something about it. But I want you to be able to take time out for you. If you don't get started today, get started tomorrow. Satisfying Sundays, I call it. Satisfying Sundays or sit down Sundays to where you're doing something different. And think about it. Journal if you need to. Go out to the park. Do something different. If you live by a lake, go to the lake. If you live by the ocean, go to the ocean, put your feet in the water, come on back, sit back, and just thank God. If you believe in God, whatever spiritual situation that helps enhance you to make you feel good, tap into it. Does that make sense? And lastly, no matter what, do your very, very, very best. Let me say it again. Lastly, do your very, very, very best. Hello, somebody? Come on now. You're worth it. God didn't make you to be here suffering. I believe everybody has something to offer. I believe everybody has a story to tell. I don't care what part of life or journey or what part of your road you're on. If you need help, ask for it. Seek out some of your care lines where you are. I don't know, whatever 1-800 number you have to call or contact your doctor. Get yourself involved with a mental health professional that can even give you even better information. If you don't feel like that person is the person for you to help you heal, seek out something else. They have all type of ways to be able to help deal with your anxiety or depression. And I am going to come on soon with a person that I know and I love dearly. And this individual is going to give you some coping skills on how to deal with anxiety and depression. Does that make sense? Because I tell you, you're not in this world alone. You do have people that's willing to give of themselves to make sure that you are happy. I love what I do. I love what I do. And remember, you're not the only one to go through life dealing with something. It's how you deal with it and how well you deal with it. If you know that you need someone to walk with you on both sides, find those cheerleaders to walk with you and hold your hand on both sides. Okay? Because the obstacles that's in front of you, that's in your mind, and that's right there present, you can get over it, you can go around it, or you can get under it. And sometimes you can kick the sucker down. Does that make sense? Listen, I don't even know you and I love you because if you're tuned in here and you're looking to, you know, become a better person in whatever areas you need to become a better person in, I'm here. Okay. So if you like what you heard, subscribe. If you want to get all of my notifications when they go up, make sure you press all and then like and comment. And if you want to put a testimony in, put it in and I will respond. Okay. It's just that simple. Be blessed. And as I always say, peace and blessings always. Until next time. Bye.